Hey,
Hey,
it's Melody,
it's Trisha.
and we are doing the Yard Chronicles in 1989, and the Yard is
PVU.
Okay? Historic HBCU.
Yay.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Okay. So, we have been going down memory lane from our first day, our move-in. We had a funny story about our class, one of our first classes, our professors. This is really for us to talk about, the difference in the times that we are, because the professors that we had then, they just don't make them the way they used to.
Right.
They really don't. And this is for us to pay homage to the era that we came from and the people who made us the people that we are today, because they were invested in us. Okay?
True.
Prairie View was the type of university, and still is, that will let you in. There's no reason for you to not get into Prairie View, but you got to work to stay in.
True.
Like if you didn't do your due diligence in high school, or you had that 2.0, 1.75, they let you in. Come one, come all. But you got to work when you get here. Okay, I don't know what you did before you got here, but to stay here, okay, you got to work. And they poured into us, like they invested in us. And we're grateful. So we decided to do this podcast to pay homage to those that are still here, that are still alive, that can watch it, like Dr. Freddie Richards. I have stories about him. Dr. Richards and Dr. Hawkins, for me, was the epitome of you're going to do something with your life. Okay? I have stories for days, especially Dr. Richards. But they were serious. Like I told Dr. Richards one day, I'm not your kid, right? Because you're talking to me like I'm your kid. He had a whole plan for me. You know what I mean? You need to do boop, boop, boop. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is some of our little stories. But Bledsoe is here from Houston. So our next episodes, we will not be in the same place. But we will do it together. And then I'll come to Houston. She lives in Houston. I live in LA. I'll come to Houston and we will continue our journey down memory lane.
Down memory lane.
Right. So you have a funny story? I have a funny story about how I met Nate.
I don't have a funny story. I just know that I chimed in on that story when you told it the first time. And I was like, Nate could see.
Okay. So let's talk about it. So there was an Omega. His name was Nate. And he worked at Prairie View. He worked in physical therapy. And when I got to the Yard, okay, I saw him. He was blind. He had his cane. So, he was taking his time, what have you. And I said, excuse me. I'm like, my name is Melody. Do you need some help? He was like, yeah. Do you know where the health center is? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can you help me get there? I said, yeah. So he put his hand on my arm. I walked slow, took my time, helped him. So like every other day I would see him, same way, whatever, and I would help him. So I went to see my mom in the health center, Ruth Smith. Shout out to my mom, Ruth Smith, okay?
Hey, Sarah.
Okay. So my twin and I have an adopted mother. Her name is Ruth Smith. Okay. So she said, what are you doing? I said, oh, Mommy, I brought Nate over. She was like, Nate who? I said,
I can't think of Nate's last name. I can't think of his last name.
Blind Nate. She said, he can see. I'm like, what? He's lying about being blind. She's like, no, Melody. Before he went blind, he used to walk this campus all the time. He has the whole layout of the campus in his head. He doesn't need any help. What do you think he was doing before you got here? I'm like, well, I just felt like other students helped him. Like she said, he doesn't need any help, okay? Trust me.
Nate lived by the flagpoles.
Okay.
And could get from the flagpoles all the way to the back of the campus
or
where
wherever
the engineering building was. That all by himself. And he wasn't always blind, but as he aged, he lost his sight. So he knew how to get around. He conned her.
Like the back of his hand. So I went my same every other day. And And, you know, when you're blind, your senses are heightened. So he knew when I walked up on her. He was like, hey, Melody. I'm like, hey, Nate. I was like, where are you going? He's like, same place. I'm like, well, my mother said you know how to get there without me.
You burst his bubble. Poor Nate got
I didn't
sense.
even give him a chance to put his hand on my shoulder. I said, well, my mother said you know how to get there without me. So the same way you've been, he just fell out laughing. And I'm like, oh, my God. He was like, I do this to all incoming freshmen. It's like they always want to help the blind. I was like...
And that's why I laughed. Because Nate used to walk fast. He used to walk fast.
But for incoming freshmen,
yeah, he'd get them.
He slowed that pace down, honey. Let me tell you something. And I was none the wiser.
Yeah, he would get all freshmen. They'd help and help him up the stairs and do all
he would
sorts
put
of
extras.
Stuff. Oh yeah,
on it. Okay.
He'd get all the freshmen. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my funny story about Nate. And then as I stayed at Prairie View and, of course got older, then I realized he was an Omega. My brother's an Omega because we spent a lot of times with the bros, honey. That's like being at home for me, especially because my brother's a bro. So it's like just being at home. But then I was like, I started talking to Nate, oh my God, Nate was smart.
Nate was very smart. He had a lot of degrees. He had stayed there for a long time and had a lot of degrees.
Yeah. But, we would talk about small talk, chit-chat when I would help him because I would meet him right at the education building. So it wasn't that far to go. You know what I mean? I just got scammed. But it wasn't like we started out at the MSP. You know what I mean?
Sometimes he'd get somebody at the MSP.
But when I met him, it was like right before you got to the educational building because I was going to the health center to do something for Mother. So... But as I got older and spent more time with him, oh my God, like I just love to spend time with him because, seeing Prairie View through his eyes and was just beautiful.
Yeah, he was there, I want to say late 70s, early 80s and beyond until he couldn't function anymore. And then, he didn't come out.
You know who else I'd like to talk about? What was the lady's name? Oh my God, she lived on campus. She lived in Evans.
Oh, our Sarah, May Helen James.
Yes. So when I came as a freshman, they called her Chic. Helen. All the Chic, because she was a Chic.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Diane and them. So that's how I didn't know forever that she was a Sarah, but she was a Chic. So they used to call her Chic Helen. Right. So this was a lady, beautiful lady. Okay,
she had grown up in Prairie View, so she and my mom knew each other, and they had gone to school together. You didn't know that?
No, but you could tell when she was a beautiful older lady. Okay, but you could tell that in her younger day, she slayed.
Oh, and she was always dressed to the nine. Every time she went out, she was dressed to the nine.
So she lived on campus, which was kind of neat for me because I just never, but she didn't leave the campus. It took me a while to realize that she never left the campus.
Yes, I won't tell that story. I'll tell it to you off camera.
Yeah,
that my mom told me, why she never went off campus.
Right, but my whole story is that we beloved her. Even the new people that came in, we beloved her. Whatever she wanted or needed, even if she didn't ask for it, if we were going off campus to get something to eat and we saw her, we would be like, Chic Helen, you want some barbecue or what have you? And we would she was very humble, very sincerely nice, very mild-mannered, right? But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like we came to Prairie View when the president lived on campus.
Yes.
His house was in, no.
Yeah.
That's probably why he moved. Because,
no, they toilet papered it one year, and that's why he moved.
Because you had students like me that would write a letter, honey, and knock, and leave it for the housekeeper to give to him for what? Frank Jackson. Frank Jackson was, every time I wrote a letter about an issue that I felt like could be changed, Frank Jackson would be one of the people who was in the meeting. So it would be the president, the vice president, Frank Jackson, and a couple other people. But
he
Frank
was kind of over student affairs back then. So yeah. Oh, let's talk
But wait,
about...
let's finish about Sheik Helen.
Oh.
But that being said, how my brain worked, my brain never worked smart enough to go to him because he was over student affairs. Since the president lived on the campus, my brain was like, write a letter and take it to the president's house, you know? But I just wanted to say in regards to her that it was a level of respect that even if you didn't know her, our generation had for her, because then you realize you saw her all the time. You saw her in the baby dome, like you saw her walking across the camp. You saw her, but it's just the level of respect that as an 18, 19-year-old we had for her, and as we got to know who she was, then it was a love that eventually grew for her. But we had mad respect for her as an elder. I think that's what's missing from this generation, is that they don't appreciate nor do they respect their elders the way we did, you know?
Well, that's enough. That kind of leads into the fact that we had older people that were on campus and that had been there for a while. Now, we talk about them now that, you know, they were there for years and years and years. But, you know, they were actually going to school because Goody was there.
Oh my God!
And yeah, May Helen was there.
I love me some Goody.
Yeah,
with his no good talking self. You know, Goody could talk to you like a dog, and then be like, "So we're going to eat or what?" Goody be like, "Oh, bop, 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 bop." You know, Goody was an ADHD before they knew ADHD, before they labeled it for us. That Goody had a big heart, man. But Goody could talk more trash.
Yes.
Than a little bit. Okay.
But anything that you needed, Goody would get it for you.
That's what I just told you. He'd be talking sideways and be like, "What, are we eating barbecue today or what?" And I'm like, after all that you just said, you think I'm hungry? Right. Get over it. Let's go eat.
Right. But, you know, we had those staples. We had Nate. We had Goody. We had May Helen. And
we had Howard. Yeah. We had Pyru.
And they had been there for years. May Helen was like a dorm mother.
Yes.
And so I want to say at first she lived in Suarez Collins, which was one of the dorms that is no longer there. I don't know
had
what
communal. That dorm had a communal bath, right?
Yeah. I can't remember where it is right now. They put a big building over it. I think it's the new communications building. I'm going to have to walk the campus to see what it is, but I think it's a new communications building. Okay. But it was Suarez Collins, and then it was across from Suarez Collins these were the girls' dorm. Then you had Drew, and in the back of Suarez Collins and
I'm trying to think.
Banks.
So Banks
and Suarez Collins were kind of back together.
Yeah, because Banks had the half circle, you know, and then so when you walk behind Banks right there, like going towards the fountain, you had the radio station, right?
In between there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would go to Hilliard Hall right there. Yeah. So it was, you know,
I knew the name of it. Hilliard Hall. I used to always just call it the
communications building,
the radio station.
Hilliard Hall.
Because I knew that's where Larry. You know,
I would just say
I was years old when I realized it was called what?
Hilliard Hall.
Okay, good.
Yes. So these were, you know, that's where we stayed. We didn't know any better. They're on the corner of that street where the corner of the street, I think it's a field now, was Benjamin Banneker was the honors dorm. Remember, it was right across the street from the old gym.
Sure.
Yeah, that was the honors dorm. And it was communal too.
I don't know. Oh, well, that's why I wouldn't. I was about to say, well, I don't know why. Oh, that's why I don't.
But you know, you used to be able to drive down that street.
Okay, yeah.
And then they blocked it off.
Yeah.
So you couldn't drive down to get from one end to the next. But yeah.
So when you think, for me, when I think about like Goody and Nate and Sheik Helen, like for our generation, it reminds me of Howard. Because Howard had been there going to school.
But Howard was closer to our age than anything. Those were older
No, I don't
people.
mean in age. I just mean as in being constant, like a constant
True.
person on the, like constant, like, you
True.
know, no matter. Howard was there for a while.
Howard was there for a while, but he wasn't there for a while because he was struggling to get out.
But it's just not that. But you know, but Howard was that type of Nate. Like Howard was the person who would give you like the shirt off his back. You know what I mean? But for me, because I met Howard within my first week, so you know, it was just a constant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, even after we graduated, when we came to homecoming, who was gonna be there? Howard.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I took a grad class with Howard.
Right. So, I mean, I just, you know, like a constant, you know. But the people that we're speaking of, they're not here anymore. Mm-hmm. But we love them. They were. So, Nate is no longer here. She Kellen is no longer here. Goody is no longer here. Now, the person that was always with, as I got older, always with Nate was Ron Leverett.
Oh, mm-hmm. And he's the mayor now.
And he's the mayor. So, yeah. But we just thought we would come on here and share some of our funny stories because we have a lot of them.
Ton.
Okay? Okay. I got a funny story about Howard. Okay? Howard came to my rescue. Okay? And it has to do with that fountain.
Oh, Lord.
We'll talk about that fountain.
We'll talk about the fountain. And y'all still have a fountain, but it's not the fountain that we had. Mm-mm. It is not the fountain. We had that fountain too, but we had another fountain, and
right in front of what we deemed Alumni Hall, where we ate,
which is another building right now.
Right, because in the summer, oh my God, remember they used to have a DJ, honey, and it would be like, okay, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later.
But see up in there,
right? The buildings that y'all have now are
beautiful. PWI beautiful.
Right. But we didn't have that. They were halfway on a kickstand by when we got there. Yeah. But they were good buildings. And they last.
Right. And you know, just
took care of Nate too.
But just as a little FYI, one of my two favorite professors that I was telling you guys about, like Dr. Richards. Dr. Richards is the one who wrote the grant for the educational building. Dr. Richards is the one who wrote the grant for the research building. Dr. Richards is the person who wrote the grant for the ag building. And I'm not sure what else, but I know for sure. So Dr. Richards was the grant writer, right? Low profile, very humble. Like some people, you know, because his name is Dr. Richards. Because he told me one day, you know, around here they call me Freddie. He was like, but when I go to Washington, D.C., they call me Dr. Richardson. But he took me around the campus one day and was like, and I was like, why they don't have a plaque? He was like, I said, they're going to do it when you're dead and gone? He said, maybe not. But it's just some of the things that when you are bright and you go to a HBCU, those are things that other people honor that sometimes we take for granted.
And I hope that y'all are really taking Prairie View, you know, the city and the college, you know, you're taking full advantage of it because it is a great place to be.
It is.
You know, and this is coming from somebody that grew up there. It was country. We didn't have a lot, but, you know, it was home.
It was PV, honey.
And it was PV, and we made it the best that we could.
You know, when you start talking about my grandfather got a master's in music from Prairie View. My mother went to Prairie View. She graduated from Jarvis Christian College, and then she took a couple classes at Prairie View. My uncle graduated from Prairie View with a degree in civil engineering, but he came there on a tennis scholarship, okay? My aunt graduated from Prairie View. She's classmates with Travis and Michael. Mm-hmm. So when I say that we have pride in Prairie View, there's a reason. They put out people who have contributed to this world and their community and above and beyond. So yeah, it's a beautiful footprint for you to have in life. So we hope you guys enjoy our stories, but you know, your kids will take advantage of the purple and gold pride that we have, because that's what we got.
Because that's what we got.
So thank you guys, and we will see you on the next one. Hit it.